Yeah,
Is that it?
Well, all I can think of is a house that we lived in further up the hill that was like this, so I can't place that into the pharmacy thing at all.
Those
This is-
across the street.
Yeah, this was the inside.
Inside.
It's the model pharmacy. Is that?
That may have come later,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
so. I don't
These
know.
other,
This, does that look familiar to you? No.
None,
This one's
Maybe
somewhat
that one
similar.
none of them are old enough, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe she was there before cameras.
well, we're lucky to have some of these pictures that were handed down to us in the archives and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
This is what Dr. Orr wrote the history of the school
Oh, did he?
in 1994.
Oh.
And so he found all these pictures.
Oh,
He
for-
went up and searched them out from the archives.
Oh, for pity's sake.
Yes, the school was 100 years old in 1994,
It
because it
was.
had been started in 1894.
Oh, for
So we
pity's
had our
sake.
100th birthday, and so we had to have a big bash.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, it's been 70 years since she graduated, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what, this is your 70th
You remember Dr.
anniversary.
Langenhahn?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Of course, he ran that model pharmacy and dispensary in
Yeah.
in the annex.
In the annex.
And there he is.
Yeah, that's pictures of the faculty in the 1920s, and you may remember some of those. There's Dr. Johnson, Dr. Goodrich, and Dr. Lynn,
Dr. Lynn,
and
he was the brain.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, he really was a
he really
was
was.
the bra- he
Wow.
started the graduate program.
Mhm.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, this is Dr. Goodrich and Dr. Johnson. And who's in the middle of this one? And that's Dr.
Well, this is Dr. Lynn in the middle.
That's Dr.
Yeah.
Lynn.
Langenhahn, Johnson,
Langenhahn.
Lynn,
Langenhahn was
Goodrich,
a short guy.
and this
yeah.
is what's her name?
Muriel, or,
Tells on the back
yeah.
here. Harriet Schneidau.
Oh, can't get these things back in your mind unless
Well,
you've been with
it's a
it.
long time ago.
Yeah, try to dig it out.
Yeah.
but they all ring a bell.
But
You
they
gotta-
all, that's what, yeah, the fact that, I mean, you remember Dr. Lynn. That's
Mhm.
wonderful.
Oh, he was,
The taskmaster, huh?
he was, but he knew everything.
No.
Yeah,
You know, if you asked him a question, you got an answer.
right.
And some of them, you were all
Yeah.
evasive of what they would
That's
try to tell you.
Even back then, huh?
He went on to the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy
Oh,
and had
did he?
had a distinguished career there.
Mhm.
But I remember meeting him at meetings and so forth, and was Les Cregan, and you remember that name?
No.
He ran a pharmacy over here on Aurora for many years. Graduated about that time.
Oh, no, I don't think,
Yeah.
Creighton doesn't ring
Now,
any
was it
bells.
1928 when you graduated, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be 70 years
Yeah, I
ago.
guess so.
Yeah.
According to something I found, that on the 10th of May, 1928, they had a big banquet, big APHA banquet. And I don't know whether you were there or not.
Well, I was working while going to school, so
Uh-huh.
not a lot of the social things that I have time for.
No.
Were you a member of the Women's Council?
No.
Yeah. They organized that for the pharmacy girls, as they call them.
Oh, really?
Oh,
But they
yeah.
were the students,
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
the female
no.
students. Did they have any of the fraternities back then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Kappa Psi was,
Kappa Psi.
was there, and way back about 1906, they had Phi Delta Chi. Or they actually 1901 or 2 they started the first fraternities.
Oh,
And then there was a student group called Calva et Ossa. Do you remember that one? Skull and bones is what that means.
Oh, it sounded a little imposing.
I got awesome, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Skull.
Yeah.
So I didn't know whether you belonged to that one or
No,
not.
You were living at home all the time you went to school?
I was at home and working.
Yeah.
Where did you work?
I worked in restaurants.
Oh, in a restaurant, not in drugstores then?
No,
That came later.
Did,
Yeah.
did you get a job after you got, in a drugstore after you got out, or?
oh gosh, that's a long time. I don't remember.
Didn't you start in Grandpa's drugstore?
Yeah, I guess maybe so.
And then after that, didn't you and Dad have your own
Then we had our own little store.
up on Beacon Hill?
Yeah.
Or was
Oh,
that
Beacon
Capitol?
Hill.
Or was that Capitol Hill? You worked in a couple on Capitol Hill.
Uh-huh.
Was that before then or after?
See, that's too far back to remember.
Oh.
Did she work for a number of years?
Oh, yeah. Most of her career was at Group Health, but that came later. That
Oh,
was after all the kids were raised. And did you go back to the U and take additional classes to get your license renewed, or you just did that through Group Health?
But you probably, you took the state board exam, I imagine, to get
I,
licensed.
as I recall, if you went through all the classes and so
But
you
that-
didn't have to
That
take
time
the
you didn't,
exam.
that's right. That was, there was a period of time where all you had to do was graduate.
Ah.
Mhm.
In fact, even
But
after
you
I
had to
came, that was
That's right.
still,
fulfill the classes that they wanted.
Sure,
Right.
yeah.
And then you didn't take the exam.
didn't take the exam, uh-huh.
But then, see, she was working with Group Health for years as a clerk in the pharmacy, and then
Uh-huh.
your boss encouraged you to get your license
Mm-hmm.
renewed, Ruth Brown.
Uh-huh.
And I remember you took classes, but I don't remember how long. It was quite a while you had to study before. And then you took the board exam again?
I didn't have to take it.
Oh, you didn't have to take it even then, huh?
Classes.
Oh. And then she worked as a pharmacist at Group Health until she retired in '76,
Oh,
I
well.
think.
Goodness.
So she was a pharmacist for a long time.
Many, many years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I find is that most of them do continue to work for many years. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and women often will step down and work part-time or stop working for a
Yeah.
while and then go back to it.
They go back to
Well,
the-
like George Benson and his wife.
Oh.
Seattle institutions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you know George and Evelyn Benson?
What was the name?
George Benson or Evelyn Benson?
Well, the name Benson, but I
Yeah,
can't.
George, they had the store over on Capitol Hill,
Oh,
on 19th or 18th and Aloha, I think.
Right.
With called the Mission Pharmacy, and they operated that for many years. They were always getting held up.
Yeah, even lately, yeah.
Yeah.
Even, because he was on the city council for many, many
That's
years.
right.
And his wife was getting held up all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They finally sold.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they
About,
finally
Well,
did.
And
what,
she hasn't
5
been
years
very
ago or
well
something
Yeah.
like that.
lately.
Oh,
But
I-
George is still around everywhere.
Oh, he's still
Running
active.
the streetcars. He brought the waterfront streetcar to Seattle.
Yeah, that was his pet project, yeah.
Did you ever consider pharmacy?
No,
No.
no. None of us ever followed that.
So no one else has, but your father was a pharmacist then also?
Yeah, my father's father.
Your father's
Her
father.
husband's
Oh,
father.
okay,
Yeah.
right.
yeah,
In fact, wasn't he one of the first pharmacists in the state or something?
probably.
Well, they'd have to go back about 1854.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that was about when.
First
when
one
he-
was down in Olympia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He was somewhere
Yeah.
the very, very early stages of it.
Now, what was his name?
He would be James McArthur.
James McArthur. Yeah. Wasn't he an officer in the State Pharmacists
Right.
Association?
Right.
Well, yes, I wrote about him in the history of the association.
Sure, yeah.
In
That's
fact, I
our
actually looked that
grandfather.
up.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Because I ran across his name many times.
Yeah.
In the, they'd have the story of the different conventions and so forth.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd thought of that. I'll
Oh, I
have to look
didn't-
that up and
Yeah, I
go,
did.
oh, yeah.
You don't make the connection.
I didn't make that
Yeah.
connection at all.
I didn't either.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
No, I ran across that name. Did you know Weight Rising?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
He passed away, 20 years ago, I
Yeah,
suppose now.
yeah.
But,
Well, Grandpa MacArthur was active in pharmacy for
oh, yeah.
That's what I
He was-
thought.
15 years.
He was president of the state association.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
yeah.
In fact, you had his old license until recently, and I thought you had given it to some museum or something.
I think we gave it to somebody.
Or
but
maybe
I
to
don't
the
know who
U,
we gave it
maybe.
to.
I
Well,
think,
we really don't have one, unless maybe to the WSPA, the State Association, they have a museum.
yeah, it wasn't, maybe, I was trying to think when it might have been 5 or 6 years ago, they
Oh.
finally gave it away, but I don't
I know
remember
we
who.
gave it to somebody, but I don't know who, because we figured that it was a historical.
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we gave it to somebody, but who we
Yeah.
chose, I
Gosh.
don't know now.
Now, was he in Seattle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay,
He had a store on Beacon Hill,
yeah.
or a drugstore, yeah.
Mm.
Had he gone to pharmacy school? Because they didn't have to, did they at that time?
I'm not
Or
sure.
Did
Yeah,
they
well,
just
they-
apprentice?
Yes,
with
they did
people?
after, about 1910 or 11,
Yeah,
yeah,
Hmm.
so, but they didn't have to before that.
Yeah.
Right.
Who
But
knows?
many,
So he
many
probably
did,
didn't, yeah.
but,
What's the oldest pharmacy school in the United States?
Philadelphia,
oh,
Philadelphia?
really?
1820.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
I guess that was before our time.
Just a little bit.
That was almost before medicine.
1820, my goodness.
Well, that's what's so fun at the UW, is that the medical school's only 50-some years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah,
The
and
pharmacy
dentistry.
and dentistry.
Nursing is 25 years older than that.
Yeah.
But we were the first health
Yeah.
science
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
Well, there's so many more medicines now, it's a lot more complicated.
oh, it's so
Yeah.
much different, you
Yeah.
know.
They were just, what, aspirin was new back then.
Well, aspirin came out about in the 1890s.
The late, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It,
And
that-
antibiotics were almost
That came
unheard
out
of.
as a trade name of the Bayer Company.
Yeah.
And then it finally became the official name. It was always acetyl salicylic acid.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
That's too hard to say.
You remember acetyl salicylic acid.
Yeah. You better remember.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Well, a lot of the plant drugs that were used years ago
Uh-huh.
are coming back now.
Well, yeah, I guess they are.
Yeah.
Well, you probably remember being in the laboratory and percolating a
Yeah.
crude drug. Set the old percolator up and
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
And wait.
and rolling pills.
That's what, I
Rolling.
did bring a picture of a pill, isn't that a pill
Yeah.
roller?
It's an old pill roller.
Can you explain that to me,
No.
Jack? I
Oh.
don't know. Do
We-
you remember using that?
No.
No.
We used to have some of those around school when we were in Bagley. I
Okay.
don't know whatever happened to them.
There may be one down in the cabinet in
Oh, I think there may
pharmaceutics.
be,
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I don't remember having it. I know we had to make some pills. I filled lots of capsules.
Yeah. You roll suppositories by hand?
So the medication, though, I mean, is it a powder, and then by
Well,
running that
it's sort
over-
of like making cookies. I mean, they make it into a dough, kind of
Oh,
like.
it's a dough.
And then on this, it rolls out into a pencil.
Right, okay.
And then when they put it in here, it cuts them and rolls them into little
Oh.
balls.
Aha. And it drops out the bottom?
Drops off.
And they
off
drop
the
out the
end,
bottom?
yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
But some of them you had to roll by hand, and you roll them in powder,
Yeah.
and,
You always had that class anyway of manufacturing.
well, Dr. Langenhahn probably taught
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you always went through all this procedure of how you would do it, if you have to make your own, you know.
Yeah. Well, nobody knows how to do that anymore, it's a
Well,
problem. We don't even have anybody knows how to teach how to do it.
Oh.
No.
Since Elmer Klein passed away.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah,
Well, you know, group health is now headed by one of our pharmacy graduates, Phil Noodleman, who's the
Oh, wow.
overall head of
Uh-huh.
group health, is one of our pharmacy graduates.
yeah,
Yeah, he was a student when I was dean.
well, that's what we used to keep telling them, it had a lot of facets that you could,
Right.
you didn't have to stay in one channel of it.
Yeah.
That's right.
You had lots of
Yeah.
choices.
I was trying to think who was Ruth Brown that,
Yeah.
I remember when she was the chief pharmacist now.
Yeah. Yeah, she was the one that encouraged her to
Oh,
get her
I see.
license renewed, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Rather than just being a clerk. get back to being a pharmacist again, yeah.
So she had let her license lapse and then got
Yeah.
it went back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure what all the whole history was
I
there,
don't remember now either, but.
but if you don't, then nobody does.
Somebody wrote a history of group health, and I think it was, maybe this Paul Dorpat that's put out the pictures of, does these pictures every week of old scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And he had come to me years ago and wanted some information when he was doing the history of group health, so
Huh?
there has been a history of it written.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I haven't read it, but,
Yeah. Because you would probably remember a lot of them, because you were with group health since back in, what, the 50s?
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. We just up on Capitol Hill at that time. Now they're everywhere.
everywhere.
So from the 50s into the 70s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You worked there quite a while.
You said you retired in 1976?
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
Well, that's just 2 years before I retired.
That's right.
Yeah, see?
That's right.
Retired as dean, anyway.
Yeah.
But Jack still comes in to school every day,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
I-
they have me, see, I started out with an office with a window.
Oh.
And then I get an office without a window. And then I share an office.
Oh, yeah.
And now I have a cubicle.
That's progress.
And it's closer to the door. So there's a hint there someplace.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Oh.
What do you remember about Dr. Johnson? What kind of a guy was he?
Oh, we all looked up to him.
Although he wasn't too tall.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
he was the
Yeah.
kingpin, so.
Well, he was the whole school for many
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
Yeah.
You know, his daughter and his grandson all graduated from our school. In fact, his grandson, Roy Hammerland, was a member of our faculty for,
Oh,
and
really?
he's now retired. But his dad and his mother, Dr. Johnson's daughter, were all pharmacists. And then he had his sister, and the whole family
The
was
whole
pharmacists.
family, yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge family of pharmacists. That's what I wondered if there were any more in your family who had
No.
followed pharmacy.
No, not at all.
She was probably disappointed we didn't.
And Mother says that in going through an open house or something, I came home and said, I want to be in the room where all the bottles are.
Yeah.
That's what,
How about that?
That's what your grandson Tom told me
Yeah.
that.
You're lucky you didn't become a barkeep.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but you had seen all of the chemistry bottles, I guess, and you said that that's what you wanted to do.
well, I
when
think
you grew
that
up.
maybe I was the same way. I
Yeah.
liked the laboratory, and
Yeah.
that's why I went on to graduate school.
Huh?
And then you ended up in administration, though.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, that's because I wasn't very good in the lab.
Oh, yeah.
Did you like making the pills, manufacturing?
yes, uh-huh, yeah.
Okay.
Because that must have been a big move for your mother, because you were living in Cle Elum with you and your brother and sister, and when it was decided you would go to school, and moved all over here
Yeah,
just so
Mother
you could
decided I-
go to school.
Really?
Yeah.
And you started college when you were 16?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing to me. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, you were in the 3-year course, the 3-year pharmacy course.
Well, it seems to me that I was there during the transition from 3 to 4.
Well, they didn't really, they were able to take a 4-year course, but it wasn't required until 1932.
Oh,
So you could have taken, a lot of people were taking both,
both.
for example,
Mhm.
yeah.
Because she was there almost 4 years, because you would have started, what, in about 24 then, if you were 16, and you finished in 28, so that's about 4 years, yeah.
Because you remember part-time faculty member, the name of Henry Burlage?
Burlage,
Yeah,
Or he was the neophyte.
yeah, he
professor.
was just starting,
Uh-huh.
and he became ill one year and had to take some time off, then came back and got his degree.
Oh,
But he went on to be dean at the University of Texas, and
Oh.
was a national leader.
Hmm.
That's where I knew him.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did Dr. Johnson teach a lot of your classes?
Not a lot, no, but to us, he had the more difficult things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was always greatly interested in the state lab, of course.
Mhm,
Yeah. He was very much involved in that. I think that was his baby, was the food and drug lab.
Right.
And so, did the pharmacy students always work in the lab?
No, but a lot of them did.
Oh,
Louis
okay.
Fisher started there, for example, and Ed Krupski and Phil Roth and those. But Louis he ran the lab for about 7 years
Yeah.
before he joined the faculty.
Okay.
That was his first job. Really. Well, he was a stockroom guy for a year.
Isn't that something? Huh.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of your classmates?
Oh, I don't know what you mean by remember.
Well, can you pull out any names?
Well, the Ajax girl,
Oh, Ajax, okay.
Marjorie, and, well, right now, I'm
Oh,
No.
I mean, for you to
No.
pull
No,
out
you-
any
you're
names
like me, I
is
can-
just amazing to me.
There
I-
was one that
this
you had
is-
mentioned, Abigail.
Abigail Poole.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And of course, my dad was going for a while. That's where you two met, was
Yeah.
at school. Yeah. And he didn't
But
finish.
you didn't finish,
No.
okay.
No.
What did he end up doing?
A little everything. Yeah.
Well, when I started dating him, why his dad said he wasn't gonna pay any more college for him because one pharmacist was enough.
Oh.
Oh.
He figured he was getting you, so yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Huh. You thought of it as a good profession, though, didn't you?
What was that?
It was a good job
Yes.
for
uh-huh.
you.
How many girls were in your class?
Oh,
Do you have any idea? Not too many, perhaps, but
There were several of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Half a dozen or so
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
well, now 75% of our students are women.
I suppose.
You know, it's become a women's profession
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
over the last few years, and so the men are outnumbered. Not quite on the faculty, although we have quite a few women on the faculty.
Yeah.
But in that picture, there was one.
That's right.
At
Yeah,
that time,
I love-
which is a pretty good percentage, though.
You didn't get to see these, Tom. This picture of the faculty, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, you showed her that one with the
Right.
5.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah. No, he didn't
Yeah.
see it. no.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Yeah. It'd give you second thoughts about coming to class every day, wouldn't it? They're a stern-looking group.
Yeah. Were they strict teachers? The teachers were strict?
Well, you expect teachers to be strict.
Yeah.
I think she would like it.
Yes, exactly.
She would be disappointed if they weren't.
Yeah.
She was that kind of student.
Yeah.
Did you know Robin Goodrich? Foley Goodrich's wife?
No.
She was Robin Wilkes, and
No,
she
I
was in
don't.
the state lab for a
Oh,
while, and so,
no, the name
yeah.
doesn't ring any bells at all.
Well, that's interesting about James McArthur. I'm gonna go look and see what I've found out about him.
Yeah.
I can tell you after I look it up when he was president, and maybe there's some little story about him on the convention.
Yeah, you
So
probably
actually-
have more than we know.
Yeah. Oh, well, it was James McArthur then that encouraged the son to stop. I mean, it wouldn't pay for him to continue pharmacy school.
Apparently, yeah.
Mm.
Isn't that
Figured since the future daughter-in-law was going to be a pharmacist, what the heck?
Yeah, that, huh.
Which
I
was
won't
kind of,
ask if she was smarter than
I don't know, what kind of student was he? Wendell.
What was that?
What kind of student was Wendell? Did he like pharmacy school, or was he just as glad to drop
Well,
out?
like, he just thought he should have his license.
Oh,
So,
so he could take over for his dad?
mm.
Yeah. In fact, we still have some of his textbooks here.
Okay, so he did go ahead and get
Oh, yeah.
licensed.
Got the USP and
No,
Army
he never
Yeah,
finished
yeah.
school.
Never did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are familiar.
Yeah, those are old. Not sure how they, managed to hold on to them all these
This is
years.
a 1916 edition.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting.
A little hard to get that open.
Yeah. Tom, so you're local. You live
Oh,
in
yeah, we all
Seattle.
live in
Okay.
Seattle. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Except for
Tom.
Tom.
Who lives in Spokane. Yeah.
Right.
Now, how did he happen to? Who was he talking? I didn't get the whole story.
He wrote a letter to the school asking for information. He wasn't sure what year she graduated and wanted to, he thought that she was one of the first women graduates of the school. And so I asked Jack to research her, which he did, and found everything about you in the archives. So that's what,
But actually, we had 3 women graduate in 1896.
No.
yeah, so she was not one of the first.
No.
She's not one of the older.
Yeah.
It's always nice to know there are people older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tom must get that from his dad, because his dad's always looking into family histories
Oh,
and
really?
so forth. So
Okay.
that's probably
Yeah.
where.
That's great.
And then we've just continued. He's very proud of you. Your grandson, Tom McArthur.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah, he thinks the world of you. And just I wanted to learn more about the School of Pharmacy and would like to do something in your honor. Perhaps a scholarship. You have contributed to the school. You've been wonderful in contributing.
Yes, we appreciate
And
that.
yes, we appreciate it
Yeah,
very,
she
very
reminds
much.
me to send money in once in a while. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for doing
Yeah,
that.
thank you very
Those
much.
gifts, because they are being used now for scholarships.
Oh.
Yeah. We have an extra class now. We have 4 full classes this coming year
Oh.
of PharmD students.
Cool.
It's a Doctor of Pharmacy degree. And so we don't have enough scholarship money.
No, you never
for all
do.
of those
Oh,
extra
wow.
students.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping to raise more money for
Yeah,
scholarships
sure.
to help cover those new students.
Yeah.
And so Tom is interested in, he wanted me to talk with him after I got to see you.
Yeah, that's a good project.
Yeah.
Well, how I got into pharmacy was kind of unique too, because, you'd have open houses and go and visit. And during one of them, I had said to Mother, I want to be in the room where all the bottles are. And why I said it, who knows?
Yeah.
And so she picked up right away a pharmacy.
No.
Isn't that
And
interesting?
so it was her choice, really.
So
Yeah.
she decided to move you all over here so you
Uh-huh.
could go to school?
Uh-huh.
That's awfully hard for a single mother with 3 kids.
Boy, so her
Her-
father was no longer living.
No.
Or-
No,
or-
no.
Yeah,
No.
that is amazing.
Yeah. That takes a lot of moxie to pick up 3
And she
kids.
had
Yeah.
some connection through someone so that she got to be managing an apartment house.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
how she could give us a place to live.
Well, yeah.
So with the strength of it, she had the apartment house that
Ah.
we could live in. She moved us all over here so I could go to school.
Mhm.
Did you get a scholarship
No.
to go to school?
Uh,
Tuition probably wasn't very expensive, but at the
No, I-
time it seemed like
Yeah.
a lot.
It must have been hard to pay the,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
But that was her goal in life, was to get me into pharmacy.
Well,
Because I'd said I wanted to be where all the bottles are.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They had the store, there was 2 drugstores.
In Cleveland.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You forget more than you remember.
Well,
Isn't that true?
exactly. I already do. Again, you amaze me. You're very sharp. You made a good pharmacist.
Well, I'm sure she did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. My husband is a pharmacist
Oh, really?
and a graduate of the School of Pharmacy. But I am not, and I don't know anything really about pharmacy. But I know that I like pharmacists.
Oh, wow.
I know more about the people than I do the profession.
Well, my husband was going to pharmacy school, but when we started going together, my in-laws wouldn't pay his
Wouldn't
tuition
pay his way.
anymore. One pharmacist in the family was enough, and they wouldn't pay any more tuition for him,
Oh, that's interesting.
Was he disappointed?
or not particularly.
Oh, okay.
Because we had our own store for years, and didn't matter whether you were registered or not, you know.
So he still served as a pharmacist?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. How about that?
Yeah.
Boy, you couldn't get by with that today.
No.
Well,
No.
I come from a pharmacy family. My grandfather and my father, my brother are all pharmacists, so it kind of was natural.
Mhm. And what was your last name?
O-R.
Oh, yeah.
I followed Dr. Goodrich as
Uh-huh.
the dean,
Mm-hmm.
and was dean from 56.
So I should look up to you, Dino.
Well, I know I'm not that tall.
Well, neither is she.
Although until our latest dean was appointed, I was the tallest one they ever had.
That's
Oh, really?
So they were all pretty short. I mean, Dr. Johnson wasn't very tall,
He was short.
and Dr. Goodrich wasn't.
Oh,
Because we have pictures to prove it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we don't have one in here though, do we? Yeah, this was
Mhm.
That was-
Lenore. He hasn't changed a bit, has he?
No.
Well,
Yeah.
except I've taken glasses.
Yeah.
And then Milo Gibaldi was the dean from 1978
Oh,
to 1995.
oh, for
Yeah.
pity's sake.
And now it's Sid Nelson.
Oh.
Who was one of my students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, time goes
And
round.
he's a native too. He's a Ballard Norwegian.
Ah. Yeah.
Actually, is that your car that's parked in number 53?
For Norwegians
For
only.
Norwegians
Yeah.
only?
Yes.
I noticed
Yes.
that and I thought of Sid Nelson.
Yeah.
Actually, he almost looks a little bit like Sid.
Yeah.
You'll have to come meet him
Yeah.
sometime.
He has a beard.
He
Yeah.
has a gray beard, yes, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if sometime you would be interested in going and seeing the new pharmacy school. It's
Yeah.
all brand new, or almost all brand new.
I have a,
Would
this is the new School of Pharmacy.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that something?
No,
We don't have the whole. We don't have the whole thing though.
No,
The
we
bottom-
only have the,
Bottom four
Yeah.
floors, but
it's much different from when you went there.
oh
right?
no.
Was that back when they had what they called the chem shack?
Chem shack. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chem shack, yeah.
yeah, isn't
Yeah.
that was the chem shack.
And what hall is this? This is
That's old. That's now the architecture building.
oh
But that was one of the buildings was built for the AYP exposition in 1909.
Oh, yeah.
And then pharmacy and chemistry took it over in 1910.
Yeah.
And we're in there till 1936 when the new Bagley Hall
Yeah.
was
I
built.
guess I didn't bring.
And then we moved out of the new Bagley Hall in 1978 down to the Health Sciences building.
Oh, so you've been there a while.
We only waited 45 to 50 years to get out of Bagley Hall.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something.
Chemistry was pushing us all this
Yeah,
time.
yeah, right.
Were they trying to get you out?
Oh, they wanted the space, there's no
Sure.
question. Chemical engineering was in there too, until they built the building behind Bagley Hall there. So it was getting crowded.
It
Yeah.
is getting very crowded. Wow.
Look at these big buildings, we have a little chem shack, we call
Yeah.
it.
Well, yeah.
It was practically a shack.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I noticed in one thing I read that in the fall of 1924, when the freshman class came in, it was the biggest class they'd had, and they had to have boxes in the laboratory to put the equipment in because there wasn't room. Was that just before you?
Before.
Just before you
No.
came.
Yeah.
No.
How many students in that class?
Well, I think they had 70 or something like
Wow,
Wow.
that was a big.
which was the biggest they'd ever
Oh
had.
my gosh, Jack. I'm
Yeah.
surprised
Yeah,
that many.
now I may be wrong on that. I saw the figure 70, had
Okay.
to do with something.
Do you remember how many graduated when
No,
you
I don't,
graduated?
no.
Yeah.
No,
I-
I-
Well, we could tell you because in the library they have all of
All
the
those-
catalogs and the
yeah,
commencement
yes,
bulletins
uh-huh.
and your names in there, of course.
Oh.
That's where I found you.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
In a book.
Yeah, see?
In
You-
fact, for a while, the university was small enough they could list all the students at the end of the catalog.
Yeah.
And so you could find a lot of people. They had to quit that.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Gosh. So Blanchard was your maiden name,
Mhm.
and then McArthur. You married James McArthur. Or not James
Wendell
McArthur.
McArthur.
Wendell McArthur.
Yeah.
Right. And James McArthur was your father-in-law.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. And then
And
Wendell
also her
died.
son.
And also her son.
Just to confuse
Yeah,
things
and
further.
Wow, I missed all that.
Now, it was James McArthur, the father, your father-in-law.
Her father-in-law was
who
the one
was
that
the
was...
first,
Right.
one of the first presidents?
No, well, I don't remember what year it was, but it was probably like in the between 1900 and 1910.
Somewhere in
Okay.
that time frame,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. And the organization started, how old is the is WSB?
1890.
1890, okay.
Hmm.
Do you remember the old Stewart and Holmes,
Oh, sure.
A.B. Stewart? Did you ever meet him?
No, I don't believe
Yeah.
I did.
Well, he was probably the main reason the school got founded to begin with.
Oh, uh-huh.
He got together with, now it's slipping my mind, probably
Yeah.
in there, the historian.
Not Meany.
Yeah,
Edmund Meany.
he got
Oh,
together with
Edmund
Edmund Meany,
Oh,
and they, through the Washington State Pharmaceutical Association, then persuaded the legislature to start the school,
oh,
and that was in 1890.
ah,
So A.B. Stewart was very prominent and
yeah.
Okay.
very distinguished-looking gentleman, from his pictures anyway.
Yeah, we didn't put his picture
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well, we don't want to tire you
right,
out.
exactly.
No.
May I take a picture of you?
Of course.
Good.
She's photogenic.
Well, yes, I would love to put a picture of you in our newsletter
Okay.
in the fall issue. And Tom had asked if you would like to come to the school. We would love to have you come visit, if you would like to do that someday.
Yeah, that might be interesting.
I think you'd get a kick out of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Of course,
Yeah.
the laboratories and classrooms aren't part of this building. They're
I
in another
know.
part of the health
Oh.
sciences building, and
Yeah.
they don't spend as much time in the laboratory as they used to. We ship them out into pharmacies, and
Oh,
they
I
get a lot of
see. Uh-huh.
experience there, of course.
Yeah.
But they don't do all the chemistry labs like they used to, and they just
Yeah, that was
don't-
always not a pain in the neck, but
I remember
you know,
those
that
too.
you had to go and have all this chemistry, and it was irrelevant as far as we were concerned. And
It-
why did we have to spend all
Yeah.
that time on chemistry?
Yeah. The students still
I'll
feel
bet they
that
sound
way.
the same way.
Yeah,
They
they
still
do.
do.
That's their biggest complaint is medicinal chemistry, and what's the other one? The art,
Probably pharmaceutics, I don't know.
It seems
Um,
so key to the whole thing, though.
Yeah.
it's the course
Yeah,
that
we had
we don't
manufacturing
teach.
pharmacy, which was interesting to us because we
Pharmacology.
were
Maybe,
accomplishing something.
well,
They usually like
pharmacology,
that.
they like, yeah.
I don't know.
Seemed like there was another class that, they always,
Oh, there's
at
always
least they
some.
complain about the professors.
They used to complain about physics.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that was in pre-pharmacy.
That-
then.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
But that was another thing, that why you spend all your time in these physics problems that had nothing to do with pharmacy.
Well, so you had that good scientific background.
Yeah.
Smile for the camera
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we wondered why we needed all the background.
Yeah.
Was
I'd like to get a
it
picture of
seemed
the two of
irrelevant,
you.
you know.
Let me
What?
get a picture of the three of you.
Well, all right.
And that's John DiGiovanni and his family. John, if you stand, and we'll talk to you later, but just so everyone knows, he's over there. He's our alumnus of the year. I also want to give a special welcome to the pharmacist who precepted me and helped support me through my schooling many years ago now, but who did that, and that's Ralph Anderson. Ralph, where are you? There he is back there, and he's going to stand up. She served me many good meals. One other couple I would like to announce, and that is Fred Martin. Fred, who is Leonora McArthur Dorman. I think when she graduated in 1928 from our School of Pharmacy, at the age of 20, her name was then Margit Leonora Blanchard. She is here with us tonight, 90 years old. I don't know if we can get her to stand, but to my knowledge, she is the oldest living graduate of the School of Pharmacy here at the University of Washington. Some of her friends for several years have donated very generously to this. There are a couple of tables up here. If they would please stand and be recognized, because there are several students who have been honored, and if they would stand first and then the students stand afterwards. There are several students who are receiving scholarships. Students would now stand so the photographer could get their pictures. I don't know where they all are, but I know they're around someplace. And later on, afterwards, that group would all get together with the donors, and they'll get special pictures with the recipients and the donors all together. And some of these family members and friends have come from long distances to be here tonight. I really feel honored that you're able to come and honor this wonderful woman. So, by the way, I think it was the father-in-law of Leonora, who was James McArthur, James W. McArthur, and he was the first president of the Washington State Board of Pharmacy in 1891. So this family goes back, way back in pharmacy, at least on her husband's side and now on her side. So it's a wonderful accomplishment there. Okay. There is a special award, the Surgeon General's Excellence in Public Health Pharmacy.
Yeah, she's supposed to sit down here.
Yeah, go right in.
Okay. You both have a seat there by me.
Force of authority.
It sounded like it.
I thought so. No, now Judy's in there. Judy. Judy.
What? Oh, sorry.
Busy taking pictures.
I know. Look at all this.
Taking a picture of them taking pictures.
All right.
Leave the poor people alone.
Oh, okay.
Is this everybody? That way, I want you to stand right back there. That way it won't be way up on the tail end here. We got somebody else to add? That group is supposed to be here too. I'm gonna take a picture in 30 seconds, so.
Nobody shoot.
Well, then you're gonna get one with the. Yeah, right.
Make her smile again. Make her smile. Say smile.
Smile. Smile, Nora.
Okay, everybody.
Hi.
And then I need you to smile and look right at the camera.
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Do one more, just make sure we didn't get any pictures. And make it focus here real quick on the most important person.
Yeah.
And this is another one now. So on the count of 3 again. 1, 2, 3.
Cheese.
Why would you want it? No, not at all. Not at all. It's just a matter of coming up with enough power. Okay. And get focused here. And what a nice right set of eyes. I'm going to take a couple of pictures here just to make sure I get what you're paying for. Here's the first one. 1, 2, 3.
I know. Wow. Yeah. All right. Yes. The average age of a graduate, I think, is about 28 now, isn't it? It's at least 28. So you were very young. Yeah, you were very young. But you led the way to women because I mean, all the classes are about 75% women now.